needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for an album review. Zombi, Escape Velocity. Zombi is a duo, one of my favorite duos, which is why it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever that it's taking me until now to talk about their new album. But now that I'm feeling this record, up and down, in a very sexy way, if you can imagine it, I'm liking what I'm hearing, because the music on this thing moves in a very interesting direction for these guys. Zombi plays a very soundtrack-ready style of synthesizer rock that has been changing a little bit over the course of the duo's past two LPs. Slowly, these guys have been drifting away from their dependence on the synthesizer, drifting away from their Tangerine Dream roots, and now they're incorporating more bass guitar, more electric guitar, and even more acoustic guitar. All of it reached a peak on the album Spirit Animal, which might have been too much of a change for some fans. It was a thicker sound, a heavier sound, a more rock-oriented sound, but I liked it. It was a lot less spacey, but to me, still very thought-provoking, with Zombi dishing out one long-winded anthemic epic after another. Escape Velocity basically throws all of the instruments Zombi has been furnishing their music with out the window, and they basically get back to the basics of drums and synthesizers. Of course, that doesn't mean this Zombi LP feels empty, less lush, less sound-heavy, because Steve Moore just fills in all of these newly formed gaps with more synthesizers, just bubbling arpeggios that are sequenced and carry out through an entire track, just wailing synth leads, some synth sounds that even sound like horns at some points. Nearly all of the 5 songs here really function on an arc, really slow, quiet introduction to begin things, and slowly the sounds get louder. More instruments sort of introduce themselves, more melodies, phrases just repeat into this never-ending groove. The grooves get harder, tension builds, and I like that. I like that kind of stuff. My issue is that some of the arcs on this album are more tense, more thrilling, more climactic than others. Like the title track, for instance. I wish it were a little bit more subtle, and also it kind of exposes the issue that some people may have about Zombi. It's that, the drums are really great. A.E. Patera is a fantastic drummer, and he just puts so much intricacy into his fills, his changes, all of that. But sometimes hearing him laid against these repeating synthesizer phrases that are just kind of punched into this one tempo can expose how flat Zombi can feel sometimes. Maybe, just needing a little bit more of a human touch. My favorite song on the album, though, is DE3, which is a great combination of this new stripped-down version of Zombi where they're getting back to their roots, and also the more ambitious directions they were pursuing on Spirit Animal, because that song doesn't really function on one single arc. There are many climaxes throughout the track. It's really a roller coaster ride that not only goes up and down, but twists and goes sideways. It's the most multi-dimensional song on the album. The last track cuts out a little early for me with a fade out, and the thing is, my only real issue with this LP is that the entire album itself cuts out a little early. I know we've had some solo stuff coming out, building up until this point, but still, considering this band's last album was 3 years ago, and it was almost an hour long, to hear these guys only make music for 34 minutes is a little... Still, this is another solid Zombi album for me that comes on slow, reveals more detail with each listen, and sounds like something that would be best fit for the soundtrack of a 70s or 80s B-movie that has some kind of storyline that takes place in space, where this space pirate has become a stowaway on this military ship, and he's climbing through the air ducts and shooting people with lasers who are wearing uniforms and basically taking over the ship. He's kind of like a space pirate ninja. Of course, this movie is loaded with terrible effects and dialogue and acting, but hey, the soundtrack is good. Basically feeling a strong 7 to 8 on this album. But let me know what you think of it. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Anthony Fantano, Zombie, Escape Velocity. Forever.